Hey guys, FSX Flying Academy here. Today's subject will be turns and climbs and descent. Turn, climbs, and descents. We're going to start off by climbs before we move on to turns, because in turns you might lose altitude or gain altitude. You need to learn how to go up and to climb and descend, right? Well, let's start. We're here on the Cessna 172 once again. We're flying towards St. Thomas, but I said, hey, why not make a video? And here I am. Now, we're right now going to the St. Thomas VOR. I'll explain VORs in another video. It's cool how that works. I'm going to deactivate the frequency. Hold on. There we go. Okay, to climb, first thing you gotta know is you gotta make tiny adjustments. You put your power completely pushed in, pull the nose up slightly, and make sure the nose of the airplane and the attitude indicator right here is between the third and second line. That's indicating a healthy climbing altitude. As you can see, we're climbing at about 800 feet, so we're going to try and keep it in 800 feet per minute. You don't have to keep it at 800 feet per minute, but to go up faster. You climb at 80 knots in this aircraft. It could be 80, 90, whatever, but it will usually reach 80 knots when you're climbing. Now, let me level out here. Okay, for the descents, we pull the power back, pull it back a little bit, not completely, just enough for the airplane to not gain speed while you're descending. When you're descending, you want to keep the wings of the airplane here in the attitude indicator, the orange lines, which are the wings. You want to keep them just below the horizon line, which is the line, white line going across. As you can see, we're descending at 500 feet per minute. If you need to, lower the power a little bit more. And that is how you descend. You want to make sure the hundredths hand, which is the big hand in the altitude indicator, make sure that's moving counterclockwise when you're descending, and make sure it's moving clockwise while you're climbing, because if not, there's either something wrong or that you're not climbing, you're descending. Let's level out, increase the power a little bit. Okay, turns. You're looking to keep the wings at either 10 degrees, which is the first line, 20 or 30 degrees. As always, guys, if you haven't watched my previous video, go back and see them, because if not, as I've said in many videos, you're not going to understand too much. So, let's get to it. We start here, our left turn. See how the attitude indicator is moving where the airplane is moving? Right now, I'm using 20 degrees of bank. If you look in the attitude indicator, trying to keep the airplane at the same altitude by pulling back slightly, very, very slightly, because it's gonna want to drop. Because think about it, you got a lot of weight from the wing on one side, facing downwards, what do you think the airplane is gonna want to do? Pause the video and think of an answer, and I'll respond it shortly. You thought of an answer? If you thought it would go down, then you're correct. It wants to go down. Right now we're doing a 360 turn. We're going to keep it at 20 degrees of bank. And then we're going to roll out. When you're 20 degrees from your desired heading, which means, for an example, I want to go to the east, right? And here's 120. Well, when you get here to 120 or any heading, well, then you're going to want to roll out 20 degrees before your desired heading. That means you will stop before you reach your heading, and you won't have to do a bunch of corrections to keep it on the heading. Let's do a right 10-degree turn. The airplane is turning really slightly, right? Because it's turning at only 10 degrees. At 10 degrees, it is really easy to maintain your altitude. Problem is that it doesn't help you turn. If you need to make a quick turn, you would use 20 or 30 degrees of bank, because this is too slow up for a bank. Let's try and turn 30 degrees to the right. 30 degrees of bank to the right. See what happens. Can you tell the difference? If you can, then there is a big difference, because the airplane wants to drop more easily, and the degrees of bank is steeper, and to keep it there you will kind of have to make a little bit of adjustments to the wheel in the direction you want to turn. For example, if you want to turn to the right and you're doing a 30-degree bank to the right, well, if you just leave it there, let's see what happens if I don't touch the controls. Nose goes down and the airplane starts to level out from the turn, right? That is why you want to, if you're turning to the right, you want to put a little bit, just a little touch of right banking. I don't know what I'm saying. Right, to bank a little bit to the right, because that's where you want to keep the airplane. Let's level out. That's it for today, guys. FSX Flying Academy here. Like and subscribe for more. I hope you find this information useful, and I'll see you guys next time.